If you travel 250 kilometres west of Sydney, you'll come to the land of the Wiradjuri people, otherwise known as Orange. It's the first time we've been here to this wine region and we're a little bit excited. So why don't you stick around for the Cellar Door Australia. Located 3.5 hours from Sydney, Orange lies west of the Blue Mountains in the Central Tablelands region. Named in honour of Prince William of Orange, British graziers began occupying the land in the 1820s. The Orange region is the highest wine region in Australia, extending from 600 metres to over 1,000 metres in elevation. This elevated area is dominated by the extinct volcano Mount Canobolas, which gives the area unique weather and soil, perfect for grapes. Orange produces cool climate wines and is known for crisp white wines and spicy, lighter-bodied red wines. With more than 80 vineyards, Orange is a must for any serious wine lovers visiting New South Wales. And there's plenty of gorgeous B&Bs for your escape to the country. If you're looking for cool climate wines and a perfect spot to spend the day, look no further than family-owned and run Stockman's Ridge. There's a beautiful driveway leading to this relaxed cellar door and garden, and I'm going to take it all in with Lisa and Jonathan to find out how it all started.
2002, bought a blank piece of land up in Bathurst with no anticipation of growing anything in particular, but I'd always had a bit of a passion for wanting to grow grapes and make wine. And started by planting 500 Shiraz vines, and I think it was an extra order that wasn't taken up by someone, and I just jumped onto it, and the paddock was half filled, so I had to plant more and plant more and plant more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Getting a bit addictive there.
It was, yeah.
So did you have any farming background at all?
No, none. School of Hard Knocks.
As a city boy.
Yeah.
City boy.
Yeah.
So you didn't...
I did go to boarding school where most of my friends were farmers, and so it kind of came through there, and I was quite passionate about gardening when I was younger, so it just seemed like a natural progression.
How's that for a can-do attitude?
It's all from actually trying and applying it and figuring out what does work, what doesn't
A little
work.
bit from books.
Yeah.
A little bit of direction.
I don't mind Google.
It was spending time as a child in Bordeaux that really instilled in Jonathan a passion for all things vines and wine.
Just driving through the vineyards, it was great to see so much order, and then to see also the joy that it brings, that I thought, I've got to try this someday.
So it sounds like for you, wine isn't just about the taste, but also the experience that it comes with.
Absolutely. So not only are we growing the grapes because we want to make great wine, but we've really set aside a large portion of our property and our business to making sure people can enjoy our wine with us. So we do a lot of weddings, we have a lot of events. Even just this weekend, we had a hens party, a birthday party, and 2 marriage proposals. After 10 years in Bathurst, we were up at about 900 metres above sea level. It's a cooler climate up there, and we were actually based on a little patch of Terra Rossa soil, which, if you know anything about the wine, where it grows best, that's a great soil. But we couldn't produce enough fruit, so we started to buy more, and that led me to purchasing fruit from Orange. And so I travelled out here regularly to have a look at the fruit, and I just fell in love with the place. And in fact, I was driving past this property when it was for sale.
How could you not jump on a place like this?
I think you made a good decision.
Thank you.
So what are we looking at here? What kind of grapes?
So we're in the middle of our Pinot Noir paddock. This particular vineyard's been planted as we want to see it in the vineyard. So the clones we've selected and the proportions allow us to simply pick all of the fruit and make a wine from what we're expecting the flavours to be. So we're currently in 777 Pinot Noir. We've got beautiful Pinot Noir here, beautiful bunches, nice and tight. It's the perfect landscape for it, and this particular hill is actually facing east, so it'll get the morning sun, but it doesn't get that harsh afternoon sun, so we can really extend that growing period. It's quite different to other vineyards around here. We have a much lower cordon, so the cordon here is only about 800 high. That's where the fruit's set, and we're unilateral, and we're only a metre apart, so we're really compacting the number of vines into the hectare, so almost twice as dense as all the other vineyards. So this is taking what we've learned, or what I've learned from my time over in France and from the French way of growing, to apply it here in Orange.
Yeah, wow. It is, and it's so luscious. Look, it's so bountiful.
That's right.
It's gorgeous colour.
So we've come through already, we've leaf plucked, we're exposing the fruit now, so you can see there's good airflow through the canopy. That airflow allows for very minimal disease, and Pinot Noir being quite a hard grape to grow is also why it's closest to the house.
Okay.
So we're down here more often.
This one gets a lot more attention.
Day,
That's
checking
right.
on them.
That's right. So we're looking for the pip. It's still a little bit green, so it's not quite ripe. It is starting to brown up, so the ripeness is still a little bit away. There's still some tartness in there, so it's not quite sweet enough, so we're going to probably pick the first lot at about 10 Beaumet for a sparkling. And the other thing that we want to do is we want to look at what kind of colour it's going to leave. And you can see it's not really leaving much colour at all, so that skin is just, you can just see a little bit of red coming through.
Yeah.
So it's still got a little bit to go. So we're looking for that to really darken up a lot more. Although Pinot Noir, very thin skin, and doesn't impart all that much. We're in 777, which is usually a much lighter colour, but still not quite ready yet.
It tastes delicious. I feel like I can taste its future in a beverage. It's really, I mean, that's quite pleasant. It's not like, I can definitely see that the sugar content's like coming through because it's not like very tart.
So a typical bunch of grapes that you'll get in the store is around about 6 Beaumet. That's the sweetness level. So wine grapes, obviously a lot sweeter. We're going to get them to almost double, at least double that sweetness. We planted 3 hectares in Bathurst, and we started off in the traditional layout, 1 metre high, 1.5 metres spacings for the Shiraz. And then when we got to do the second section, we transferred to this style, which we've moved over here to Orange, which is the 1 metre spacing. And so once we moved here, I wanted a piece of land that was a blank canvas, but as you can see, we're surrounded by other vineyards, so we're in good company here. And we've chosen varieties that we think are going to work well. So we know that we can purchase fruit in Orange, it's going to be fantastic. But what we've really tried to do is grab the stuff that's hard to make or something that we want to make our own. So we have Pinot Noir here, we have Gruna Bellina at the top. We've also got some Primitivo going in, which is an Italian clone, also known as Zinfandel if you're familiar with American wine. Yeah. And of course Shiraz, which has become a bit of a mainstay here in Orange for a couple of reasons. Cool climate Shiraz is certainly starting to dominate, and we had a very early success with our Shirazes.
One of the first wines that John made, which is part of the reason I think that he's gotten into it so much, is the first wine he made in Bathurst, which he made no experience, not knowing it all, but he's got the most attention to detail out of anyone I've ever met, and he ended up winning 9 gold medals on that first Shiraz.
Wow.
Which is sensational for a first wine, so I think that's
right.
when you kind of knew you might be onto something.
Yeah.
So,
Only up and up from there.
That's right.
Not bad for a first try.
So Pinot Noir is a really fun variety to work with because we can do a lot of things with it. We're not going to just make a red wine. This year has been a little bit cooler, so it's a perfect year to make sparkling wine. So we're actually going to take part of this beautiful fruit. We're going to pick it a little bit early, so we're coming out here almost daily and just checking the fruit, checking the sugar content. When we think it's about ready for a sparkling wine, we're going to pick a large portion of this to go and make a sparkling. So
How wonderful.
we'll leave some of it on there because we'll still make a red wine with it as well. And it might even turn into a rosé. It's just going to depend how the fruit ripens this year.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Speaking of sparkling wine, I think it's time for a drink. Stay tuned.
Whilst filming the Cellar Door in Orange, our crew chose to stay at Lakeview Luxury Retreat. Lakeview Luxury Retreat provides a private, intimate and exclusive space to relax, breathe and reconnect. Feel the tension melt away as soon as you walk through the door in one of our beautifully appointed self-contained villas. Nestled in the trees adjacent to the Lake Canobolas Reserve, Lakeview offers a quiet, secluded couples retreat, only 10 minutes from the heart of Orange and close to fantastic wineries, restaurants and cafes. For inquiries, visit lakeviewretreat.com.au.
I'm at Stockman's Ridge in Orange, and it's time to relax on the lawn with a bottle of sparkling.
So this is a beautiful view you've got here. What else do you do in these spaces?
Well, one of our most popular activities that people like to do is actually during our winter season, so it can get quite cold in Orange. And we've got bonfires that people can hire for the day, for the evening as well. And that all started back when we first locked down with COVID, because John and I had not as much to do. So we were clearing the land and cutting, up dead trees and burning fires. And we thought, this is amazing to sit out here and just look at the view. Let's offer this to people. So we set up multiple fire pit locations around the property. Currently, we've got about 4 or 5 of them, looking to add a few more. We live on the property, so it's easy for us to do. And yeah, they hire the fires and just enjoy a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, and we've got barbecues at some of the locations as well. So that's a really popular activity in winter. In summer, less around the fires, more around the barbecue, so people can bring their own food to our venue. We have no problems with that. So that's quite nice, to pack a picnic or barbecue and yeah, enjoy that with their families.
As well as plenty of space to run around, there's also a jumping castle on weekends to keep the kids occupied.
We've got music on for the adults, so we try not to rush through a 1-hour tasting with people when they come here. We want people to just sit, relax, let the kids be entertained, and just enjoy themselves.
Yeah, sounds like a wonderful way to make memories with wine.
Yes!
As well as an Easter egg hunt at Easter, there's also cherry picking in summer.
We do have 1,000 cherry trees planted on the property, so John loves cherries, so that was one of the first things we planted here. So yeah, it's between November, December. This year was a little bit later because it was colder. We do pick your own cherries. So we've got a few different varieties in there, so that's always a fun thing for people to come and do.
Yeah, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Exactly. So I sometimes eat a bit too many cherries at that time of year, but it's great. We get a lot of people up from Sydney for that, and amazingly, people drive just for the day, come and pick their cherries, pop over, try a few wines.
Because we're really not that far from Sydney.
It's not that, and it's a beautiful drive too, because you go through the Blue Mountains, so you can stop on the way and have a little view of something, get some lunch, so it's actually quite an enjoyable drive to make.
Now, how can I segue into trying that wine?
So with this spectacular view and people having engagements and hens parties, what would they pair with that sort of event?
Well, a common choice, people ask especially when they're going to propose, is to pull out our sparkling. So this is our Storm Sparkling. So it's a 2011, so it's made with 98% Chardonnay grapes and 2% Pinot grapes. So it's a beautiful sparkling. It's got light notes of apple, great minerality to it. If you want to give that a little try.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I'll try as well.
Yeah, why not? Nice.
It's a bit too easy to drink, that one.
I was about to say that is a very easy wine to drink.
This one's made in what we call the method traditionnel. So that means that we go through a second fermentation in the bottle. So it takes a long time, takes about 6 years to make it in that style. But the end result is that you've got these beautiful fine bubbles throughout the glass, so it's not just fizzing on the top.
Yeah.
We think it's worthwhile, so.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's a gorgeous color. Gotta have a little bit more, I think.
A little bit more. A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
As well as the expansive gardens, there's also an intimate indoor area. But it's such a nice day, I'm going to join Lisa on the patio for a very special treat.
So we found another beautiful spot here, and I'm with Lisa, and I have another beautiful wine, I think, in front of me. Can you tell me about this wine?
Yeah, so this wine's a bit of a treat. So this is a Gruna Bellina, so 2016. So this is from our top paddock up in the vines there. One of the first varieties that we planted here, and we're the first winery to plant this in Orange. So it's been done in the Adelaide Hills, which is one of the only regions in Australia that's planted Gruna Bellina. It's originally from Austria. It's one of the most popular wines in Austria. John wanted to plant it because he absolutely loves drinking it. And we know that it will grow well in Orange, being a cool climate with a higher elevation. It can be a little bit similar to a Riesling, and we know that Riesling does really well in the region. It's a little bit more of an elevated version of a Riesling, I suppose. And One of the great things about Gruna Bellina is it's very versatile, so you can do all kinds of things with it. You can make it lighter, more of a Sauv Blanc style. You can make it richer, so it's got some elements similar to a Riesling, but it's got a bit more texture, a bit more richness. This one's quite creamy. It's got a little bit of peach, honey flavors to it as well. Definitely one of my favorite whites to be drinking. So
it looks pretty good. So.
Excited to open a bottle of this one today.
Yeah, I'm excited to share that bottle with you. Ooh, yeah, I can taste those honey notes. It's gorgeous. Even smells delicious too.
Yeah, I just love the aftertaste that you get with it as well.
And what would people pair with this? What would go well?
One of the best things to pair with Gruna Bellina, which is a bit of a new thing that people have been doing, is spicy food. So spicy Asian dishes, absolutely delicious. Because you've got that richness in the wine, it really cuts through that spice. So
and balance it out with the sweeter notes too.
Yeah. If you want to do something lighter, you've got your creamy style cheeses work really well with it as well. Like a camembert can be really beautiful, but yeah, it really shines with those spicy Asian foods.
Sit here with a nice wine, and I see you've got a stage. So do you have a lot of
We do. So we stay open late in the evenings on Saturday. So we've got the musician here. Everyone just comes. They may do a wine tasting. They may just grab a bottle or a glass and just hang out, enjoy the musician. We try and support local, so we've always got local musicians on that we've got every weekend. So
yes, very nice. This is also another very easy to drink wine, I have to say.
Yeah, this one's really good. So we had a few years where we weren't able to get any fruit off of the vines just due to the drought, and then it's smoke tainted. So we've got our last one. So this is 2016. Our 2021 is now in bottle, so we're just waiting to release that. So we always give our wines a little bit of time before we put them on the shelf. So we're pretty excited to bring that next one out. And one of the next styles we want to make with Gruna, not this year because it's been a bit colder, but when we get a warm year, is we want to make a dessert wine with it. Ooh. So we tried that down in Adelaide Hills and absolutely loved it. So
I can definitely
very excited.
See that.
Yeah, you can see, right? You can taste it, a little bit of the honey notes.
Imagine
delicious.
It's coming.
Yeah, so lots of things to do with this one.
Yeah, so versatile. So I have never had this wine before. This is a little bit special. I feel very privileged to drink this, and I'm sure that you would also enjoy drinking this as well. And before I try and embarrass myself, I'm going to ask Lisa how to pronounce it again.
Gruna Bellina.
Gruna Bellina. Say it with me. Gruna Bellina. Cheers.
There are so many little spaces here to explore, and I think I found my next spot to take in the surrounds.
I don't know about you, but I am sorted. I'll see you after the break.
Okay, sparkling, check. White wine, check. What should we try next? My time here at Stockman's is almost up, so it's time to try a red in another idyllic spot.
One of the things I've really enjoyed about being here today is that there's so many spots you can sit, but this one we're at is pretty special, Lisa.
One of the prime locations, so you're close to the cellar door for a wine tasting, you're close to the music, and yeah, you've got the fire here for the evenings when it's a little bit cooler.
So I'm picking up a little bit of an accent. Can you tell me about where you're from originally?
I'm originally Canadian.
Yeah, so how did you go from Canada to Orange?
Well, I came to Australia probably 18 years ago now. Came here on a holiday with a friend, and it was warmer. Enjoyed everything in Australia, so we just stayed, got a working visa, and yeah, stayed from there, and ended up meeting John actually in Sydney. So we ended up meeting there, and I know that he is passionate about what he does, but the front of house, the marketing stuff, it wasn't necessarily the part that he enjoyed the most, and I loved it. So,
and then you get the opportunity to shout out what he's doing.
Exactly, exactly. He does a lot of great things, and he just needs to tell more people about it. So I had a lot of fun doing it. He got to have his fun doing the farming. Just seemed like a good fit, and just kind of went from there. We've got kids the same age, so our kids got along, and yeah, it's kind of the rest was from history. And
wow, so your love blossomed as well as the vines.
Well, yeah, I guess I guess so. I would say it was his Chardonnay that first drew me in.
And so the more you learned, the more you appreciated the wine? Is that how it
So
happened?
much so. It's such an interesting thing to learn about. There's just so many elements to winemaking. You know, it's not just, I'm going to plant Shiraz grapes or I'm going to do Merlot. You know, you've got to know what clone of Merlot, what are you going to graft it onto, what types of wine, what yeast are you going to use. It's so interesting. You never stop learning when you're in the wine industry.
Yeah, it just keeps going deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And I like that you've got so many interesting varieties here that you can't really get anywhere else. Maybe one or two other places in the whole of the country.
Yeah, so we do try, and we've got a couple of the staples that we know everyone loves, but we do like to try new things. John loves trying new things, and like we said before, a lot of the wines we make are wines that we also like to drink. And this is probably my favorite of all of the wines. This is a Bordeaux blend that we've got here. So this is a Merlot Cabernet Franc. It's one of these red wines that I say needs to be aerated. So you always should aerate your reds, but some are more obvious than others, and this is one of those ones. So the Merlot can be quite dry. There's a lot of tannins in Merlot. When you've got thick skins on grape, you tend to get higher tannins. But the Cabernet Franc has got really high floral notes, so it's great to blend with the Merlot. It really lifts it. So this one, when you try it when it's first out of the bottle, you taste more Merlot, dark cherry, it's heavy. The more air you get into it, the lighter it gets.
Wow.
So,
And is it a really great variety to grow here in Orange in the climate?
yes. So the thing about cool climate wines is that because you take longer to ripen the grapes, they've got more time to develop complexity. And that's the difference between a warm region and a cool region. That's why you'll find sometimes the lighter style wines do particularly well in a cool climate, whereas in a warm climate, you do some lighter style wines, they almost taste watered down. And that's because they don't have enough time to ripen and develop those characteristics.
Yeah, so you're in a bit of a sweet spot here in Orange.
We think so, we think so. This one's too easy to drink.
Oh, I like that. Those two grapes in there, you can kind of taste them and how they come together.
And when you get a little
after.
swirl to it, I'm always telling people when they come for a tasting, really get in there and swirl it. Don't be afraid to do it. And then try it again because it changes taste even just in a short time.
See, this is the type of wine that I could enjoy like on a summer day, but also in front of a fire.
In front of a fire, I love having this with a steak or a bit of lamb.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa. I've had a wonderful time. I don't think I told you, but this is my first trip to Orange.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sure it's not going to be your last.
You've converted me. I think I'm already planning my next trip back. Cheers.
Cheers.
That was a pretty perfect day. So I'm heading back to my B&B to take in more country views and, of course, enjoy another wine.
Well, I've lived in Sydney my entire life, and yet I have never been to Orange before this trip. I've tasted delicious wines, and now I'm topping it off with spectacular vistas. Cows, I saw a joey, there's a lake. What more could you want? And it wouldn't be Cellar Door Australia without a giant cheese platter made from local produce. So now there's nothing left for me to do except sip this delicious wine and take in that peaceful, quiet vista.